Since Bitcoin crashed to the $30,000 level, we remained firm on this channel that this was likely to be the bottom, and it's still likely to be the bottom. I was encouraging people to not panic sell on the dip, and so far it has been a good move. On May 20th, I released a diagram of what I thought was coming for the price of Bitcoin as we were bottoming out. Even though this post was intended to be kind of funny, this is actually what usually happens after a major crash like this. And the craziest part about this tweet is that the price action lines up almost perfectly. We have a low, a higher low, a lower low, a higher low on both charts. They are both almost identical now. Dare I say it? Exactly as predicted. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin. Now, the first order of business on this video is smashing the like button and also talking about this new report that Goldman Sachs put out on May 21st, just a few days ago. It says top of mind, crypto, a new asset class. Yes, that's right. This is Goldman Sachs saying that crypto and Bitcoin is now officially, in their eyes, a new asset class. Now, let me remind you, this is the same Goldman Sachs that put out this report on May 27th of 2020. This report was put out just 2 months after the March crash in 2020, and it says cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, are not an asset class. So this is the type of manipulation we are dealing with. Let me remind you, May of 2020 was about right here after the crash. And since that point, Bitcoin has gone up about 300%. So it took Bitcoin gaining 300% for Goldman Sachs to finally agree that Bitcoin is a legitimate asset class. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, Goldman Sachs is either stupid or manipulating us. I would probably say it's more likely that they're manipulating us. And who knows, maybe they were buying down here when they were talking crap on Bitcoin. But anyway, looking at the weekly chart right here, there's a new trend line in town for Bitcoin, and this trend line stems back to the March crash itself. We dipped to 3,800 here in March 2020. This trend line, if you line it up with the area of October 2020, it lines up almost perfectly with our recent dip to 30,000 US dollars. So we now have a new macro weekly trend line to base the price action off of. And it's quite clear if Bitcoin is able to maintain this upward sloping trend line, then it's more likely that we do find a recovery from this point. If we see Bitcoin riding up along this trend line and we end up breaking below this trend line, then that could signal that maybe we are entering a bear market, that maybe we are going to be creating some sort of lower high descending triangle formation before a breakdown. So I'm going to be keeping my eye closely on this upward sloping trend line. One thing I think is for sure, or at least I'm pretty sure, is that Bitcoin is going to be playing out a major bounce from this point. Whether this bounce leads us into a continued bull market, or whether this bounce leads us into a lower high and we enter a bear market, nonetheless, I do expect Bitcoin to see some major upside from this point. And also, let me remind you guys that we just saw the most volume here on the Binance exchange since the March crash. Actually, we had higher weekly volume now than we did at the March crash, which tells me that this is a hard bottom. It's very likely to be a bottom of some kind. Even if the bearish scenario plays out, we're probably going to hold 30,000 for quite a long time, many months. I'm still remaining bullish in terms of the macro trend. I'm still going to remain bullish on Bitcoin exceeding the 100K target and heading towards 200,000 within this year. I think that's still very likely. But you got to keep an open mind, of course. We got to look out for those potential bearish signals along the way as well. But I think we're going to play a major bounce considering that volume that we got. Looking at the daily chart, this 30,000 level seems to be an area of heavy interest for Bitcoin. If you're looking back in time here after we broke 20K, we had one major run up, a pullback, and that 30,000 level, we saw tons of wicks along 30,000 and a nice strong base of support formed there before running up. And now we've reached that level again, and we're finding more wicks, more demand right along 30,000. The closer we get to 30K, the more buying takes place. The closer we get to 30K, the less time we spend there. We only have 2 wicks now down to those low 30,000 levels. And as you can see on the chart, we have our first daily close above this downward sloping price channel. We have our first daily close here. We actually just tested back to it as support, and now we're bouncing again. So this is good to see. This does tell me that we're probably going to get a major rip to the upside. If you take your fibs from high to low, if we do get above this $40,000 level here, I think that we're going to end up, that would likely usher in a lot of buying if we break above the 40,000 psychological level, and we would go to at least 45,000. 45,000 is my first major upside target. And ultimately at this point, I'm looking for the 786 as the major upside target. Even if Bitcoin was going to do the bearish scenario where we break down from here, right? Even if that was going to happen, whether we play at the bullish or the bearish scenario, I think we're going to reach the 786. From my experience, that is a very common lower high target that the market usually goes after. I mean, it's just a total guess, but regardless, I think we're going to be heading towards 53,200 or so. But we'll have to see how things play out from there. As long as Bitcoin can maintain this trend line here, right? As long as we do maintain this area, then anything can happen in this range before getting the needed support to continue up. It may take us a few months to actually get the needed support to continue up. It's probably going to take until at least July or end of July for us to come back up to 65,000. And maybe by the time end of July, August rolls around, we'll get a break back above 65,000 if the bull market is going to continue. I think somewhere around end of July, August may be our new range. And this recent dump has changed my end of bull market prediction. It's less likely that the bull market would now peak by the end of the summer. It's actually more likely that the bull market will run all the way into October before ending. And that has a lot to do with this stock to flow image right here. If you guys see how crazy similar it is right now between both cycles, we are currently seeing our first major weekly dip almost at the exact same point as the last bull market. It's nearly at the exact same point. So if we were going to follow the previous cycle, if Bitcoin is going to continue to play this out almost the same, then we would see, another 150 days or so to the upside, roughly 150 days, which would land us in October of this year. So we'll see how this plays out. As of right now, this is what makes the most sense to me. I'll be looking for about October of this year. So yes, I am going to be most likely pushing back my end of bull market prediction, but of course it depends on how fast Bitcoin recovers from here. So we'll see how it all plays out. But yes, I am still remaining bullish on Bitcoin. I think it may take some time for us to recover. Most top major institutions, including now Goldman Sachs, which was previously the biggest skeptic of Bitcoin, is now basically becoming bullish on it, saying it's a new asset class, right? So that's pretty exciting to see. And remember, guys, going back to the 4-hour chart, you do not want to be the person that misses out on the recovery bounce, right? I'm not trying to incite any FOMO here, but if you panic sold at the bottom, you may miss out on a major recovery. This 4-hour downward sloping price channel, this resistance, is now turning into support, and we're gaining some bullish momentum. You do not want to be the person that misses out on that major recovery bounce. Just about every coin is probably going to be riding with Bitcoin to the upside during this next recovery. And once again, from high to low using our fibs, just below 45,000, 44,800 is the next major upside target, about 45,000. That's actually where I think we're going to be headed in the next few days, week or so. I hope you guys bought the dip. And that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe to this channel if you're new, and leave your comments below. Let me know your thoughts if you think we've bottomed, if you don't think we've bottomed. I want to hear from you guys in the comments section below, and I'll see you all in the next video.